Welcome to Haxby Shed. Today I'm doing a quick job for my daughter and her husband, and that is to remove this radiator. This should be quite a quick and easy job. It just involves locking off the two valves at the end of the radiator, draining the radiator, and then taking it off the wall, being careful perhaps to turn it upside down so that any black sludge doesn't run out. These are the tools I'm going to use: a big Stilson wrench and an adjustable spanner, and besides that all I need is a bleeding key and a tray to drain the water. So with this radiator we've got lock shield valves on both ends. Sometimes there's a thermostatic valve on one end, but it's the same principle, you just turn them off to isolate the radiator. So let's take this cap off and we'll simply turn this valve to lock it shut. So now the valves are locked at both ends, the radiator is isolated. The next thing to do, I've got a helper by the way here, the next thing to do is to undo this big nut here and separate the valve from the fitting in the radiator. But as you do that, be very careful not to turn this so that it wrenches the pipe, because it's possible that the pipe will then break off and there will be water everywhere. So we have to hold this valve still while we unlock this nut. And of course, as soon as we start to do that, water will start to come out. So we have to have the tray ready. Okay, the tray's in place to catch the water as I loosen off the valve fitting. So notice how I put the big Stilson on first to stop the valve turning. And then we can loosen off the nut, and as soon as I do this, the water's going to start to flow. And we may have to empty the tray several times. Now we'll get to a point where the water stops flowing because there's a vacuum building up within the radiator. And that's when we'll need to open up the bleed valve so that as the water runs out, the air can run in and it'll keep flowing. Well, we can see it's draining out now. And we'll have to fill this tray and remove it several times. So what we found was that the air vent on the radiator was blocked, even though we took out the bleed nipple. So we just used a small needle to poke in, and once the air was rushing in from the top, the water runs out quite freely from the bottom. Well, it's just about empty now. It's just dribbling. Because the radiator is attached to pipes which are then attached to the wall rather than pipes coming out of the floor, the concrete floor perhaps, we can lift the other end of the radiator and run off the remaining water down to this end. Now we're confident that the radiator is drained, I can disconnect the pipe at the other end, and then the radiator will be free to lift off. So with the radiator drained and both ends disconnected, we're going to lift it off the wall and then turn it over 180 degrees. We've put the bleed nipple back in so that that's nice and tight and sealed, and then if there's any sludge in the bottom, hopefully that'll just fall to what is now the top as we rotate it over. So let's do that now. That's it. Rotate it over. And off we go. So that's done. One second, I've got that one. So that's finished. The radiator's removed. They're going to replaster this wall and then they're going to fit a ladder radiator. I hope that was some use to you. Thank you for watching Haxby Shed.
Bye.
Clearly.
Bye bye.